Why would a government sit and watch this happen to its people? Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Afro Millennial. Today we are talking about the floods in Borno State. So over the weekend we heard news of how a city in Nigeria, Maiduguri, was the whole city was flooded because of heavy rains uh, in the past few days. The governments or the state government reported that the flood was actually caused by a dam that overflowed its walls or its boundaries, and then went the water flowed into the city and caused widespread flooding. That past week, many cities and countries across West Africa have experienced heavy rainfall, causing flooding. People have lost their lives. Millions of people have been displaced and all that. So it's just one of those things that happen, right? But then in Maiduguri, what caught my attention is that flooding in Maiduguri was so bad that the zoo was flooded. They have zoo animals roaming the streets. They don't know where the zoo animals are. Like in the floodwaters, there could be snakes, crocodiles, and all that. And it's just a scary situation. Apart from the public health crisis that's health workers already fear because of the floodwaters, sewage, and all that in the floodwaters. Apart from that, one prison, a medium security prison, got flooded, and then some of the inmates have escaped. So criminals at large, law enforcement agencies are trying to get back in confinement. Okay, so that's being the case. That's sad enough that something like that should happen for a whole city to be devastated by floods. But that's not why I got interested in the story or why I'm making this video. So the reason I'm making this video is I had reports, I watched videos on social media that talked about how residents of the city had been complaining to the state government that the dam was weak and it was getting destroyed little by little. So there was wear, it was experiencing wear and tear. Like if there's no maintenance of any infrastructure, that infrastructure is going to deteriorate over time. So that's what's happening to the dam. And they kept complaining over the past 2 years. So much so that the Borno State Governor finally sent a delegation of experts, engineers, experts in the field to go take a look at the dam and see if what the people are saying is true. And they went there and they came back with a report that said the dam was in good shape. There was nothing to be afraid of. No cause for alarm. Everything was cool. The news, they announced that on the news. Only for a few days later, maybe 4 days later, the rains happened and this dam collapsed. And the residents are saying it's not actually an overflow of the dam, but it is a collapse of the same dam they had been complaining about. So yes, there were heavy rains. Yes, other parts or other countries or cities in other countries are getting flooded. But then residents claim that the floods would not have been as serious as it is now if the state government had done something to repair the dam when they had complained or when they had started complaining. So why would a government sit there for such a thing to happen? This is negligence because the residents complained on several occasions, many times over 2 years. So much so that the governor finally sent experts. So who are these experts and what did they go and say? And why did they say everything was all well and good when actually things weren't good, things were that bad? The dam is like a wall and there's water behind the wall. So it's holding the water in one place. And that's what I don't know. I'm not sure if the dam was built for irrigation or for electricity. Or I'm guessing it's for irrigation for farmlands. So for this dam to collapse, the action of the water attacked the walls of the dam for a very long time before this happened. It's not an overnight thing. You know the power of water. So things were happening, and the heavy rains was the last push. Why would a government sit and watch this happen to its people? Right? So in other countries, if this were to happen, instead of going back and forth with the people and saying, oh, it was an overflow of the dam, and the people are saying, no, it was an actual collapse of the dam, the government would have been putting things in place. Like people would have been taking responsibility for what happened. Here's the case, nobody's taking responsibility. It's like they are just trying to deny what's happened or whatever the people are saying. I would believe what the people are saying rather than believe what the government is saying, right? Because the government, I'm thinking they are just people in power who are finding ways to stay in power. These are people who have been affected firsthand by the flood. So if they were complaining, then I think I should believe them that they have the right story. So I'm going to go with the story that the dam collapsed, actually not overflowed. So in other countries, this flood would have been enough reason for government officials to resign, right? In other parts of the world. But I don't see that happening in African countries. Nobody takes responsibility for things that happen. Where is the accountability? Like, why can't we hold our leaders accountable? On the continent, like most countries in the continent, we see that happening. I'm going to talk about a different country and a different issue happening next week in my video, because the things that are happening, it's like the leaders just don't care about the people. Why do you sit there and people complain about a dam that's about to collapse? And this, mind you, this has happened before, 30 years, about 30 years ago. So 30 years is a short enough time for most government officials today to have been alive. They witnessed that happening. And then they sat there and watched it happen again in their time. And it's even worse than what happened 30 years or about 30 years ago. What is wrong with African leaders? That's the question that comes to mind, because this was totally preventable. Natural disasters happen, that's true. But this is something that could have been prevented. People are living in, like, imagine a whole city flooded. You step into water, you don't even know if the zoo crocodile is lying right next beside you. Like, it's just food, hospital, like schools are closed, hospitals are flooded, like maternity wards everywhere. So how do you watch? Is it a problem of there not being enough funds? No. There are reports that the funds are allocated for the repair of the dam, or for to manage all natural resources in the state, but nothing was done. They watched the things go bad until something like this has happened. That's not the first time it's happening in an African country, and it keeps happening. It keeps happening. So let me know in the comment sections what should Africans do to hold their leaders accountable. Why is that accountability missing in African leadership? It just boggles my mind. Let me know in the comment sections what you think about this, and let's get the discussion going, because something has to be done. People have to be held accountable when these things happen. It shouldn't just go scot-free. Families have been displaced, whole families, kids, everything. So let me know in the comment section how you think we can hold our leaders accountable in African countries. Thank you for joining me on yet another episode of the Afro Millennial. This is, I wish I didn't have to do videos like this. I wish I wish the videos were they had a happy tone all the time, but these things keep coming up and then they have to be talked about. So let me know, join the conversation, like the video if you found the information useful, send a comment or two if you have additional information to share with others. Subscribe to the channel if you like the content I provide weekly. And finally, share this video to other people who you think might benefit from the content of my videos. Thank you, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye-bye.